Power Query functions are unfortunately quite different from the traditional Excel functions. Although many of them do the same thing, they are captured differently, and so as a result you kind of need to learn new syntax. So as a simple example, let's look at the if function. So in normal Excel, if I wanted to do an if, the function I would use would look something like this. And you'll see it guides you along and basically says what's the logical test. So in this case we want to give 5% commission if this number is more than 20,000. So we'll say, is that bigger than or equal to 20,000? If it's true, for example, put 5%. If it's not true, put 0%. When we enter it, you'll see it looks like this. It's got if, it's got some brackets, and then there's a comma, comma. So as long as you know the commas, it knows that that means true, that means false. The same thing in PowerQuery is written like this. Equals if, the test, whatever it happens to be, the word then whatever true is, else false. So this same example would be written if this column sales is bigger than or equal to 20,000, then 0.05, else 0. So let's just see how that works. Let's put it into PowerQuery. So we've got it in here. It seems to have guessed the right type of data type. We're going to add a special function, a M formula. So I'm going to go to add column. I'm going to add a custom function. Let's call it commission percentage. And now you need to type exactly as it is shown here. So we're going to type equals if. I wanted to look at the sales here. So is that bigger than or equal to 20,000? I type the word then. I'm going to put my amount. I'm going to put 0.05. I type the word else, 0. Looks like it's working. Let's see if it has worked. And you'll see now it's gone and set it up. Now when you create a function like that, it's always useful to go see what's in the formula bar. You'll discover it looks slightly different. It's got similar things here. So you'll see it's put our name, commission percentage separately. Then it says each, if sales is bigger than 20,000, then that, otherwise that. So it's very similar, but not exactly the same. Keep in mind that in the latest versions of PowerQuery, you actually didn't need to type in the if function, and we actually can either fix it over here, or if we click on the little settings, you'll see it actually takes us into the wizard. So although we've shown you with the if function how it works, you can actually use the wizard. All the other functions are similar. Unfortunately, they're not like the Excel function, and unfortunately the help or the function wizard is not particularly useful in this case. So we recommend on the web page you've got a link to the Microsoft site that shows you all the PowerQuery M functions that you can get, and it's a case of pretty much looking through them, finding items. So for example, let's go look at the type functions and seeing what's available. Sometimes you'll find these are quite hard to understand, so perhaps a Google search would be best, or try and find the equivalent Excel function that you think you would use, and then try and match it to the PowerQuery function. But unfortunately you're going to have to learn these new functions and how the syntax works and how to capture them correctly into your PowerQuery to achieve what you want to do. Keep in mind, a lot of the things that you want to do can be done just by using the buttons, and that's how we'd recommend as much as possible you use this tool.